All right, what's up, everybody? Is it working? Are we live on Rumble right now?
Um,
I haven't
Yeah,
checked.
it seems like it's going. I saw someone in the chat say it's 4 o'clock. Where are you guys? But no, it looks like looks like we're good to go. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here for another Taking You Back with Frankie Val and Zach Payne. What's up, guys?
Oh, I'm just feeling great. How about you
We're
guys?
good to go. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being
Oh
here.
yeah, that's us on Rumble. On Rumble, we sound good there.
yeah, I'd say it's working.
Yeah.
That's us from the past. Oh, shit, no.
Sunshine
Sorry.
blend
I'm stuck.
with white pine for cinnamon and Chrissy.
Shut up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, whose computer is that now? There's
You guys
nothing
hear me?
worse than knowing that each and every one of us probably have 30 links or more opened on our computer in various tabs. So,
Yeah.
like, when something starts happening and you're like, oh my God, where is it?
Yeah, that could be
Panic.
Oh, it's terrible. Terrible. You know, that's why I think like Chrome, when a lot of browsers does this now, but I think Chrome was the first one to actually put the speaker tab,
Yeah.
on the speaker icon on the tab, so you know which window it is at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
That used to suck.
I will like default mute entire windows, like, and then I'll only open up things that I know are going to be making sound over there.
Yeah, so I use a desktop and a laptop, and to a combination. On my desktop, if anything's playing on it, I can't hear it, but the audience can. So that could be like really bad because there's like a 15-second delay on Pilled specifically. So there are times where I have something playing and it's like overlapping, or even God forbid my own stream. So they're getting like double audio of what I'm saying. And I won't know it for, a solid 15, 20 seconds till I see people in the chat. And then I have to figure out where it's coming from.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when you get the best help from the chat. That's when the internet just shines. Hundreds of people just saying, "Can't hear you, can't hear you."
Yeah, yeah. Muted, or like when the sound like screws up, but it's not your fault, and everyone's like, you're muted again, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know what it is.
I make the joke that I need one of those like safety signs, like 0 days since my last production incident.
Yes.
I don't think I'd ever get it above 10, but I feel like I need it.
I've been doing pretty good. I actually got a push button mute under my desk so that when I need to mute, I can just hit, and now you can hear me, and you couldn't before. And so that way I won't accidentally hit the mute button and then forget about it.
It's like with your foot, you're hitting it. Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like it's for like a band, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got it from Sweetwater.
Nice.
And
yeah, Sweetwater.
Yeah. So funny enough, my Sweetwater rep, the guy, they assign you somebody. So like you log in and it's like the same guy every time, Mike. He watches the show, and somebody else was assigned to me, and he saw an order come through and he was like, holy shit, this is Zach. And so he was like, let me take this customer, let me take this account. And so then he took over my account, and like, now anytime I need anything, he hooks me up. It's pretty sweet.
You should drop my brother's name. I remember when you ask him about Anthony from 10 Second Songs.
Okay.
I remember them having they had a really robust sponsorship going on. I don't know, sometime around 2016, 17, something like that. We got a lot of new equipment for the sound studio at our compound when they had first linked up. I don't know if all the same people still work there. It's been so long, but they got to know them from a musical standpoint. That's cool that they do broadcasts and everything else though too.
Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool.
So someone in chat just said that Lou Dobbs passed away.
Oh
no!
I have not seen any confirmation of that.
Was he sick?
I have no idea.
I don't think he was. I mean, he's just, aged.
You're just old.
Yeah.
Dondo in the pill chat just said that Lou Dobbs passed away. So do you have like any sauce on that, or like where did you hear that, Dondo? Because I don't see anything on Twitter. I searched on Google. I didn't see anything. So unless it like just happened.
There's nothing on Drudge Report.
Yeah, I'm only seeing stuff about him getting canceled.
I'll keep an eye out for some kind of. Huh. Oh, here it is. Breaking. From former President Trump says Lou Dobbs has passed away at 78 years old. Put on his True Social. The great Lou Dobbs has just passed away, a friend and truly incredible journalist, reporter, and talent. He understood the world and what was happening better than others. Lou was unique in so many ways and loved our country. Our warmest condolences to his wonderful wife Debbie and family. He will be greatly missed. So that's from President Trump right there.
That's so sad. And he just listed his mansion for sale in April. I wonder if he did know he was sick. Like maybe he was trying to liquidate, because it was the end.
I don't know.
Huh.
Could be.
Very sad. Very sad.
I haven't even thought about Lou Dobbs in a while. It's just been so long since he was taken off. And yeah. All right. Well, there's some news.
And then I guess Bob Newhart. I don't know who Bob Newhart is, but apparently Bob Newhart just died.
He died?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bob Newhart. He's like an old school comedian.
Oh yeah, he's like one of the last of the old timers.
Okay. Yeah, I see him. Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the last of the old timers there, man. How old? Oh, 94. Yeah. Jeez Louise.
Well, that gets the show off to a fun start, I guess.
Hey, you know what? We can only be so lucky to live to 94 years old and to be as active as he was. I mean, he wasn't doing a lot recently, but he was he did things like even in his old age, he had really great roles in like Elf and stuff like that. As like the head elf or something like that. You remember that? The one that raised Buddy?
Yeah.
That's Bob Newhart.
Yeah.
But there's so much there, man.
Yeah.
Anywho.
That is a bummer. All right. Well, I guess we should get into what's obviously going to be a big topic on the show today, the assassination attempt of Donald Trump at Butler Fairgrounds on past Saturday. Yeah,
someone tried to assassinate the president.
Yeah, did you guys hear? No, seriously, where were you guys when it happened? Like, were you watching live?
I was mowing the lawn. I was trying to make sure I beat Frank, but apparently he's got his game on point.
Why? What happened
with your tan?
Oh no, well, here's the thing. I was at a graduation party for my nephew, and we was at my sister-in-law's house, and it just so happens she's got a really nice pool in the backyard. So at that point, I was done in the pool with Aurora, so I was just sitting back on a bench and just getting some sun. And so after a while, it was probably around 6 o'clock or so, or 5. I don't know whenever the hell that happened, but we had just decided, okay, let's take off. We're gonna go actually get some dinner. And it's me, Lauren, and Aurora packed her up, got into the car. As soon as I get into the car, as we're leaving, you would think that us being who we are with the kind of friends and colleagues that we have, we would be like rapid texting each other the whole time. The first person who get in touch with me to tell me what happened was my mother, because
my mother too. Because
how strange is it?
Yeah,
that
very strange.
This thing was live on television. I mean, anybody that wants to watch any of these rallies now knows they're probably going to settle down in front of an RSBN stream or something like that, and it'll be there. But the fact that my mother was the first one to get in touch with me, and I hadn't heard anybody for like 5 minutes after her. That's how on top of it she was.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. That's essentially how my mom is now too. And I'm certain that you had a fair amount to do with that.
Yeah, she doesn't watch The View anymore, so that's I take credit for that.
So I was at the pool myself. I didn't see my phone until almost an hour after it happened, and the first text message on my phone was a friend of mine, and all it said was, "This is 1776," and I'm like, "Oh God, what happened?" Like, and of course I went and started scrolling through. I had about a dozen messages and whatnot from different people.
More like this is 1914. It's like I don't know, man. I don't know how to take. Let me ask you guys this, because I've been floating two things out there that I cannot shake from my gut. The first one is just all of the unseen consequences, just the unseen things that we may not even know. You know how you ever think about to yourself, how many times in your life have you drifted into and out of near death situations that you never knew about? Like maybe something that happened on the road or whatever. How close did you get to buying the farm that you never knew about it? Over the course of a lifetime, you had to have averted certain death by milliseconds in some way, shape, or form you didn't know.
I mean, I can't comment on any times that I didn't know, but I do have at least 2 instances where I was acutely aware of it.
This is what I'm talking about. We know what we are acutely aware of right now. We know the distance of a head turn with Trump. But what we don't know, like I think about how his life, how just being alive and him being a chance that he can be in office again in January of 2025, what that does to several situations in the world, including how Vladimir Putin controls himself.
Oh yeah.
In Ukraine until he knows that perhaps he'll have an honest peace candidate to deal with in a few months. As long as he's the president elect, let's just hold off on not flattening the world and burning it to cinders. And that's just one thing. Who knows what else?
Yeah. It's like the ripple effect, right? I mean, like Trump is that pebble in the pond and it just spreads out. I think about that often. I mean, like specifically the avoidance of loss of human life. Like it will be immediate as soon as Donald Trump is announced as the winner.
Well, and here's the other thing too. When you think about that ripple effect, I also it made me, obviously we're all now I don't watch. I said this this week several times, but I'm not the type to watch rallies. I'm not the type to even really watch the conventions. I don't really care too much. I'll look at the highlights the next day and we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to watch this now because I just want to physically assess Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm watching that first night, I was so silly because I don't know how these things work. I thought Trump was going to talk that night. I didn't know it was a 4-day affair. So I'm watching that night and I see and I'm just assessing the room and I'm watching everybody there, the whole Mitch McConnell and all these people. And I'm saying to myself, how many of these people right there were fully expecting Donald Trump to be dead by now? How many people in that room right now were fully expecting? Because I don't know how much you guys have been tracking all of the very strange, pre 9/11-esque financial moves that were made with the stock market. Dude,
yeah. Can you get into that a little bit? Because that I haven't looked into as much. I've seen a lot of the anomalies of what happened the day itself, but
this is like good. It goes straight back to the 9/11 playbook, and like some of the same people are actually involved. The same ones.
So obviously, like an inside job, like Trump was very obviously set up, and we can get into that a little bit. But get into that a little bit, Frank, if you have like.
I'm going to get it for you guys. Carry on. Just give me a couple seconds.
Well, the Bush family are clearly crying in their beer right now. I'll say that, and also the hedge fund or the financial house that attempted to short both DJT and Rumble, and they claimed it was a clerical error. I'm sorry. You're talking about, I don't even know how many millions of dollars. That's not a clerical error. They placed the order, and then when they realized that the assassination didn't happen, they were able to somehow get it reversed, and they did not have to worry about losing all of that on those positions.
Yeah, Adam, check the chat. I just sent you a link. You can start with the original on the 17th, and then there's the retweet there too.
Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so from @died suddenly, and I just need this to go away. All right, the film that took the suspicious and enormous bet against, or the firm, excuse me, that took the suspicious and enormous bet against President Trump's True Social stock one day before the assassination attempt is Austin Private Wealth LLC, majority held by George Soros, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Imagine that. Coincidentally, BlackRock, the party that would have greatly profited from President Trump's death, included the shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks in a 2022 promotional video that I saw. Alex Soros infamously shared an Atlantic magazine cover image which featured a bullet hole in glass followed by a picture of cash, which added up to the number 47, a message some interpreted as a cryptic death threat against President Trump. Austin Private Wealth LLC is also connected to the late President George H.W. Bush, who was a client, and through his son, President George W. Bush, who attended events and was involved in the company's charitable initiatives. Bush family close associate James A. Baker III, a former Secretary of State and H.W.'s White House Chief of Staff, has served as the firm's senior policy director since its inception in 2006. Being that this was the largest bet the firm has ever taken, it's fair to presume Baker had a role in making it. It's also important to remember the moment HW made a Sicilian-style death motion towards a TV showing President Trump decimating his son Jeb during the 2016 presidential primary. Lastly, Austin Private Wealth LLC, according to their website, directly supports the ACLU, ADL Austin, Shalom Austin Jewish Community Center, Camp Young Judea, Congregation Beth Israel, Austin Jewish Academy, and Hadassah. And then there's this here, new, soon-to-be unmasked entities bet that President Trump's DJT stock would plummet one day before the assassination attempt. Shorts against the True Social stock more than doubled from July 1 to July 12, meaning people or large organizations were predicting that by Monday the stock would plummet, something that undoubtedly would have occurred had President Trump died in Pennsylvania. This could mean some had foreknowledge of the plot against President Trump's life and tried to profit off the coming calamity. This also happened on 9/11, where bets were placed against the stocks of major airline companies, American and United, the day before the attack. Investigation showed that in both cases, a single entity and a well-placed insider newsletter tipped off investors to miraculously bet against the top two airlines in the USA, who took a major hit after the hijackings. And
it's, and then of course you see there's no, when you put everything else together, there's just no doubt. First of all, this line of thinking right here, I mean, this piece of evidence, this piece of fact, that ended up in Casino Royale. Daniel Craig. You remember in the first Bond movie with Daniel Craig when he's getting debriefed by Judi Dench, by M, and they're still in the Bahamas scene. It's right after he foils the demolition, the terrorist attack against the Airbus. It's pretty much Lashif, the villain in that movie. Lashif goes and takes $180 million of these African terrorists' money. And he goes and he shorts this airline stock that's about to unveil this gigantic new commercial aircraft that's going to revolutionize air travel. And of course, Bond starts putting it all together. He foils the whole plan, and therefore the stock, the short goes belly up, and Lashif loses all those people's money. Anyway, Judi Dench puts that into words in that next scene where he said, before the day before 9/11, somebody, bet the other way on all these airline stocks. And so, somebody made a lot of money on 9/11. That's just not that's a real piece of history right there. Something that's never been addressed ever. And it's true.
Well, actually, they did address it. They said that it was the terrorists themselves, Frank. Right. In their caves in Afghanistan, they were, I mean, of course, they didn't have Starlink at that point. They must have had a hard line that they were running into Kandahar. But allegedly, that's what they did. But no, you're right. It's never been like, competently addressed.
And how did Al Qaeda in the caves of Afghanistan cash out on their winnings, by the way?
Well, how did they even get a trading account? Exactly.
Who got them their income? I know.
Oh God,
man! Oh man!
Maybe we delivered them pallets of cash. The United States government's pretty good at that when it comes to these terrorists. So,
yeah, no, it's a lot.
What other anomalies really caught your eye, guys? Like with this, like.
This was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. But then again, I guess the people that we're up against, that the world is up against, really have no good options left. There is nothing. Everybody had the most important questions to be asked already lined up within a couple of hours of this. Just to let the dust settle just a little bit. Everybody already had the most important questions to be asked. How in this field, where there's only one standing structure, to be accounted for, any last one of the people watching this stream or any three of us right now could have better provided security for the event. I mean, it was just so like to overlook that. It's not an oversight. It's a plan, and it's just ridiculous at this point.
Neither of you two are buying the extreme negligence angle on this.
No,
I didn't think so, but I don't either. I think that's absolutely insane. Anyone that believes that this was just a matter of whoops, we fucked up.
I mean, just, I think that the evidence of insider trading, betting against DJT and Rumble, two brands that are just obviously associated with Donald Trump, there's no way that would have been a clerical error. Okay. On top of that, you have the fact that Donald Trump's Secret Service detail was already reduced before that day at the hands of the DHS. And then on the day of, they took a good portion of his detail and they transferred them over to Jill Biden, who also happened to be in Pennsylvania. They even denied the request of some local law enforcement from surrounding areas to be attached to Donald Trump's detail. Some of them went anyways. They were supposed to go to Jill Biden, but they went to guard Trump anyways, and they got in trouble. But, you have that factor. And then you have the factor that they replaced any of the regular Secret Service agents with the female Secret Service agents that obviously had never been in a situation like this in their life. It didn't even look like they had even trained for it. And then the security on the ground was woefully unprepared. They did not bother to secure any of the vantage points. They could have easily been used by a sniper. They knew at least 10 minutes before President Trump, before the shot happened, that there was somebody on that roof, okay, that there was a specific credible threat. In the hour prior to that, they had pictures of the guy. They saw him walking around. There was the incident with the cop actually trying to climb up on the roof.
They saw him walking around with a backpack and a rangefinder. A rangefinder. Like, what else could that possibly be for? Like,
obviously, he was going to light off celebratory fireworks, and he wanted to make sure that he was going to be a safe distance away from the crowd.
Yeah, or working on his 9-iron, like that, because golf is the only other time I've used a rangefinder other than, setting up to practice shooting. Like it's completely ridiculous that this was. That's what I said, from the very start. Like anyone who believes that this 20-year-old kid with no military background managed to evade Secret Service, scale a roof with an AR-15 and line up that shot without being stopped.
Well, and on top of that, he also, without any military experience or any criminal experience, was able to build IEDs, explosive devices that, required sophisticated chemistry. He also was able to have like NSA level encryption on his iPhone, so they couldn't get into it. He also had no internet footprint. He had no search history. He had no communications with people, but he was using encrypted communications that he wasn't using to speak to anybody, as far as we know. The only thing that they've been able to point to is his Steam account, where he had he was playing video games and he mentioned something about July 13th.
Incredible. And this is where, as I've said the last couple of nights, especially when we saw that CNN clip where what was his name, Corey Mills? Is that his name?
Corey Mills, yeah.
Or you saw that interview on CNN.
Good for him, for actually going there.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. He reached the back wall of the Truman Show on that one.
Yeah,
because to watch people go to their limits of where this could. I mean, to see people put their time, like Joy Reid. You see her theory today.
Oh, I was gonna play it in a bit. Yeah,
go ahead. Play it, because that's where for me. I don't really need to. I'm always going to be open for more details to just see how incredible the inner workings of this obvious botched job really was. I don't need any more convincing about what the nature of Saturday was. But what is really disconcerting to me is more and more what we're getting a glimpse of with the terminal level of retardation that we have to live around. The people who have so readily committed themselves to violent trains of thought. They don't think for themselves. Something like this happens. They know that it puts them in a line of at least spiritual culpability. And instead of just owning it, like some people have, and good on them at least for consistency. But to see everybody else, back up and move the goalpost to Trump is exaggerating with the size of the bandage he has on his head, or that he set up the entire thing for what, I don't know, to gain momentum over Joe Biden, who is dying before our very eyes.
Yeah, he didn't need the momentum.
It's incredible what people have thrown their. And by the way, and I thought that any kind of conspiracy theory, any kind of dissenting thought on a deadly mass casualty event had a price tag of at least $1 billion on it. That's what I thought the going rate was. But boy, oh boy, go ahead, play Joy.
Before I play Joy, I want to go back to Corey Mills for a quick second, because he's the only one that I've seen come out and broach the idea that this was a conspiracy, that it was intentional, that this wasn't just pure negligence. Like, he did that interview on CNN. He was kind of touching on that. You could see how uncomfortable the CNN anchor was when he was doing it. Why aren't more people in his position? I mean, it's so obvious, Frank and Zach, that this was a setup. I mean, you look at, like you said, this whole issue with the shorting of the stocks beforehand, just how bad of a blunder. There's just, I mean, making sure no one's on that building, having or seeing him on the building 10 minutes before he takes the shot, and still letting the president go on stage. Like, in the security world, I feel like that's as basic, like not letting the president go on stage there, or clearing that threat before allowing him to go on stage there, is as basic as putting the lid up before you use the toilet. You know what I mean? Like, it's so fundamental to the job that there's just no way it was an oversight. So why aren't more people, like, I was listening to Charlie Kirk earlier today. He's asking all these questions about it, but he won't go there. Like, he keeps calling it negligence and like these security failures, as if it's just like people derelict of duty, rather than what's very obviously a coordinated attempt on the president's life. There's no way this kid didn't have help. He's had to have been able to scout out the area, know where to go, like be allowed to get into position, be allowed to get set up and be up there for long enough to line up his shot and take shot. Like, why aren't more people in positions of influence with large reaches just going for it and saying, like, look, this was coming from above. This is not just a lone shooter. This was coordinated, and we need answers on that front, instead of like, oh, how did they mess up this badly? How is this kid, allowed to do this? Like, what? It's so soft, and I'm so sick of it. Like,
it's very soft. That's as far as a lot of people will go there. And then, of course, there is another way. The opposite way is people like Joy Reid, or so many others on Twitter. It's incredible. Like, before you play that, here's one thing that she said. Joy had said yesterday, and the reason why I'm harping on her is because this is what a lot of them have been parroting. I have many questions, says the very inquisitive, probing Joy Reid. Like, where are the medical reports? What caused Trump's injury, and what was the injury? Was it shrapnel? Was it glass? Was it a bullet? Where were the 3 attendees who were shot seated or standing relative to Trump? Why was Trump allowed to stand and pose for photos, fist bumping for nearly 10 seconds while asking about his shoe when there could easily have been additional shooters? So now, why is she asking this? Why is she asking this? Because she wants to speculatively plant the seed that this was all set up. There was no real danger to Trump. I love when people say it could have been glass from the teleprompter that hurt him. Okay, so you're saying that let's say that a bullet shattered the teleprompter in front of him and it somehow cut his face or whatever the hell else, because the bullet didn't hit him, but only was shot in his direction, and shrapnel from the bullet shot at him. That means that it was a big exaggeration, no big deal. Why are we even doing this? It wasn't an assassination attempt.
Yeah, that's exactly it. She also recently said that Donald Trump surviving an assassination attempt is on par with Joe Biden surviving his 23rd bout of COVID. She's a fucking moron. There's really no other way to put it. I mean,
let's play
Occam's razor on this one, guys.
Yeah.
Let's play these clips, because I have both of these clips lined up and they're both pretty incredible. Here's the one, Frank, you were referencing.
Yeah.
We still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet, whether he was hit by glass fragments, whether he was hit by shrapnel. We don't have those details. We actually have no details from his physician, even though this man is still a Secret Service protected, and presidential candidate. We know almost nothing.
So
why?
dumb.
Why don't we know that much? We know that 3 people were shot. 1 person, unfortunately, was killed at the rally. We don't know where they were sitting or standing relative to him. We don't know why, for 9 full seconds, Donald Trump was allowed to stand back up.
9 seconds
during an active
is
shooting.
not a minute.
Active shooter.
What 9 seconds can feel like a long time, depending on what kind of mental state you're in, maybe. But Donald Trump was fighting that group of people. He's a big man. He fought to his feet. It was a shit show. I mean, the entire security detail was a real shit show. And 9 seconds is not a lot of time. But again, what is the implication? That he was claiming a photo op, which means, are we sure this wasn't staged?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all the rest of the clip is. And I have to express this point later on tonight on my show here too, because I had this clip ready to go. You think the first people you would think with this whole theory here is there anybody out there that is willing to ask the question of her, does this mean that Donald Trump coordinated with Joe Biden to have himself shot at? How did she go into how Trump convinced Biden's people at the Secret Service and elsewhere to make it all possible? And when and why did they start working together? Or better yet, as I said before, why aren't the FBI, CIA, and Secret Service, etc., working like busy little bees to expose the truth about what might be possibly the first assassination attempt that they didn't have even a small hand in coordinating? Because if he was out there, if this really was Donald Trump staging it on himself, he put his life in danger just to be able to get a couple more points in the polls against the inconsequential Joe Biden, this would be the easiest thing to do. But the problem is you can't do what happened that day without the Secret Service helping. Can you imagine Donald Trump? They say, well, we had Donald Trump's campaign manager get in touch with us and insist that roof stay clear. That would be the easiest thing to report on an hour later.
Right.
You think about all the things that they tried to, the entrapment schemes over the last 10 years, every other legal and media concoction that they cooked up to debilitate Trump over the last 10 years. You think that him staging something like this, in which he got members of the audience maimed or killed and almost himself killed, you think that would stay wrapped up, that there would be anything holding this bureaucracy back from exposing and getting Trump the hell out of the way? Oh, he'd be that'd be done. There'd no way.
He'd be cooked.
He'd be cooked.
Yeah.
They finally have him.
They're so salty about that picture, that iconic picture in the mainstream media. They're so salty that he didn't cower. He didn't like just slink away. Like the fact that he rose defiantly and even was able to have the wherewithal in that moment to like reassure his base and show strength and courage. And even if it was posing for a picture, which I don't even think it was. I mean, how your adrenaline has to be pumping so hard.
He was doing it for the crowd. He wanted people to know that he was okay.
Yeah, and I think he was legitimately, pissed off. You look at his face in that moment, and
it's all adrenaline.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He's a big
not
man.
Thinking about cameras, he's no. That's a lot. That's the furthest thing from his mind. But they're so salty that this man is the man that we all like. I think, the way we all think of him is a courageous guy that stands up to the most evil and powerful forces on the planet. And he showed it. That's exactly what he was in that moment. Like, he is the outsider. He is the existential threat to this oligarchy that's infiltrated our country and all of our major institutions. He is the one guy that could probably knock this nation off the trajectory it's on into God knows what, back to something that at least somewhat resembles the vision of our founding fathers. And in that moment, he showed exactly why, and it was captured perfectly in that picture. And they're just so salty that exists because it's
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're so because it's organic, and it's the kind of thing that only happens to him comparatively to what the left tries to force into being. They waited for the gratification of that mugshot orgasm that they thought they were going to get. And it became what we thought at the time was going to be the image of 2024, the election that defined 2024. Look, they actually got a mugshot of this guy. This is what they had to do to campaign. And the fact that he was able to turn an assassination attempt into a moment that was even bigger than that. Oh my God! Of course the salt is flowing. Of course. I mean, it's just everything that they try to force into being just falls flat on its face. But because it's just not. They don't have it. They don't have it. They are the I don't know, the anti everything.
Yeah. How does this affect their campaign going forward, the Democrats? Because like a huge part of it was calling right wingers extremists and threats to democracy, threats that, like, the language they were using towards the right and Donald Trump himself was very incendiary for a long time. Now this happens. I feel like that goes over not so, like, maybe with their far left lunatics, it's fine, but
they haven't changed the messaging. Have you guys seen the messaging change?
Slightly. I've seen people catch themselves. Like yesterday, there was a woman who said, the Democrats need to train their fire on Donald Trump. And then she was like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that. and Joe Biden, he did that kind of mea culpa with Lester Holt, but then immediately he's like, oh, he is a threat to democracy. And I think by and large, they have to change their messaging a little bit. They can't be as inflammatory. But I think that what I'm seeing is sort of a generalized resignation. They know that there is no messaging that's going to be able to break through this. And, so I've seen kind of attacks kind of shift to JD Vance. People understand that JD Vance, with as young as he is, he's probably going to end up being the nominee 4 years from now. And that means another 8 years of Make America Great Again if JD Vance is the heir apparent to America First. But they're not really interested in taking that chance. I think that the reason they dislike him so much is because he's not as much of a political outsider as Donald Trump, but he's only been in the Senate for 2 years. And during that time, he's expressed sympathy for average Americans. He's talked about the illegal alien voter replacement scheme. He's talked about how the election was stolen in 2020. I think that he's going to be just as dangerous to them as they think he is. And
he's anti-war.
Yes, Andy's anti-war. Yes,
I think above all else, that's what they don't like about him is he won't feed that military-industrial complex. He won't embolden or enable under his watch, what I think is just a mass human sacrifice ritual we call war, that just feeds darkness, with all the negative energy that comes from war. I think they see him as a major threat to that. So I don't know if you heard Tucker Carlson and his comments on that when he spoke. Do you guys see that at all?
When did he
speak? Yeah.
Tucker came out. I think I have it queued up here somewhere.
And also, hold on. Janadoc keeps asking who paid for JD Vance's education. The GI Bill. Okay, he worked full time, and he also used the GI Bill. He joined the Marines, served its distinction, came back, and then went to become a lawyer.
So here's Tucker Carlson talking about JD Vance being the pick for VP, and I like Tucker a lot. I know he's got a lot of access to people. So when he says what he's about to say here, it gives me a good feeling that JD Vance was the right guy for the job.
JD Vance is the VP pick, and I think every person who pays close attention has got to be thrilled by that. And if you don't know much about JD Vance, I'm not even going to make a case for JD Vance. I'm going to tell you what I just saw, which is that every bad person I've ever met in a lifetime in Washington was aligned against JD Vance. And I do think the negative case is often more powerful, because I know of myself, I do not think I'm a particularly good person. I have strong reasons for feeling that way. I don't always think that my side is right. I know for a fact I have been wrong many, many times. And I hope to correct and be honest about my error. So it's not like I think that, I'm always, God's always on my side. Sometimes I'm not on God's side. But I definitely know who's representing the other side. It's a lot easier to tell who the people who are only in it because they like, killing other people in pointless wars. Like, I know who those people are. And their odor is so powerful that I can smell one when he walks in the room. And every single one of those people in a line that would extend from Milwaukee to Chicago was lined up over the last week to knife JD Vance. Not on personal grounds. I mean, he's a perfectly nice guy. He's like one of the only members of the Senate with a happy marriage. True. But because they thought he would be harder to manipulate and slightly less enthusiastic about killing people. That's it. That he would be an impediment to their exercising power. And boy, they went after him in a way I've just kind of never seen. Which I think happens every day in Washington. I just don't have a vantage on it because I'm far, far away and grateful to be. And again, I was just reminded that this process is so ugly that normal people do not want to participate in it. And yet normal people have to suck it up and do so anyway because the consequences are just so profound and so very serious.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Hey, you know what? That's how I know which movies I want to watch these days. How bad are the reviews? Oh, they're really bad. I better go see it. It's rife with retrograde, misogynistic nonsense. Oh, it's probably great. Let me go see it. So I understand that, and we might have gotten to the point where that's really as all you need just to say, hey, let's roll the dice, because what I don't know.
Of the people he was seriously considering, he definitely would have been my choice. Because what I understand, it was like Burgum, Marco Rubio, JD Vance, or Tim Scott were like the final four from everything I read. And all those other guys have been politicians for a long time, long enough to have the hooks really into them from a lobbyist or military industrial complex standpoint. None of them were all that impressive, pretty milquetoast for most of them, rhino tendencies, taking money from the Mitch McConnell super PACs and things like that. JD Vance was at least like fresh blood, younger, saying a lot of the right things recently. And at least that there was some hope with him that there would be some fundamental difference in the way he would do things. So,
well, the fact that those are the final four made me a little weird there too. I mean, Tim Scott, why Marco Rubio was ever even floated? I don't even know. Maybe that was just a dummy name. There was never any intention. I don't know, but that was weird just to even hear.
So
go ahead.
Marco is like not loved by everyone, but I mean, he has gotten elected down here in Florida on a number of occasions, and that carries weight with it. And, President Trump obviously is making relationships and arrangements with people. So Marco Rubio, he needs Marco Rubio's support. He wants as many Republicans to say they support him as possible. He had all of these, quote, possible VP picks from all around the country. All of those people believe they may be in contention for the vice presidential pick. They all openly support President Trump right up until the moment before the Republican National Convention, where he lets a bunch of people down. They're not going to stop supporting Donald Trump, but it basically got him up to that finish line, and then he chooses who he wants.
Yeah.
I don't think Marco was truly in contention. I mean, little Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Yeah. And I think, again, picking JD Vance also was a signal that Trump 2.0 is going to be a lot different than Trump, the first Trump administration. Like, it would have been very easy for him to pick an establishment Republican that would have appeased that end of the party, appeased the big money, the donor class, and made things smoother. I mean, to me, picking JD Vance out of all the other people he was considering was kind of a big middle finger to that end of the party, and saying, like, no, like, we're going full speed ahead with the populist agenda here. We're not gonna soften our approach to this. And I think it sends a message to the future of the party too, where it's like, does he pick a Marco Rubio or a Tim Scott or one of these guys? All of a sudden they're a front runner for 2028. We're like right back where we started. With JD Vance, I feel like there's at least hope that this guy could be somebody that could continue the trajectory that Donald Trump would set us on beyond 2028. So I was actually, the more I thought about it, I was more and more okay with the JD Vance pick. I would have rather seen like Ben Carson or
Yeah, me too.
General.
I thought that I was holding out hope that we would all get like really surprised and he'd be like Rand Paul.
I knew that wasn't going to happen, but
Yeah.
I really wanted Mike Flynn. I thought that would be great, but I think there's still an opportunity for him somewhere else in the administration.
You think? How do you think the assassination attempt will like change Donald Trump going forward? Like, he's speaking tonight.
Yeah, Adel, that's the main reason why I tuned in all week, thinking, okay, it's tonight, because I don't know how this shit works, but that's what I want to watch. I asked my audience the first night we came back on Monday, and I said, what do you think this does to Donald Trump as a person, especially, he's in politics. You have to understand how to play to your base. You have to understand how to assess the demographics, how, the whole pie chart of people that support you. And of course, if you're a Republican or anything that is considered to be on the more conservative side of the spectrum, you have to account for large evangelical, devout Catholic, Christian bases there. And, Donald Trump is like nominally Christian. He seems to believe in God, but how far does he go with that? How far does it really play a role in his life? I never looked at him and saw him as a really pious man, but when you have a brush with death, I wonder how that really does call you to assess things and what is there any real religious realignments going on in him right now? What kind of new lease on life and the life beyond this one does he have? That's something when he walked in that first night, I said, oh man, there is a softer kind of emotion coming from his face. You guys had to have seen the emotion that there was it was a softer kind of emotion. There was something there that was a little bit more grateful and who knows where it all goes, but that's what I'm looking out for too, Adel, to kind of get that kind of assessment.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how his rhetoric changes, if it does at all, if it makes him more aggressive with what he's saying and what he wants to do, if he has like a chip on his shoulder from it, or if it goes the opposite way, if he is intimidated by the potential of another chance or opportunity to take a shot at him. Like, I mean, I was too young or not even around, but like from what I've read, like Reagan was very different after his assassination attempt.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Reagan also had a former CIA director as his VP and probably knew that it was him and his buddies that tried to take him out. So, yeah. I mean, not to mention he was, 71. He had a bullet or something, enter halfway into his body and pop his lung and almost slice open his aorta. So, I mean, he was, physically incapacitated for some time after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first Bush presidency.
Yeah, right. let me take care because we're running out of time here. Let me take care of our sponsors today, and then we'll kind of wrap things up on the other side of that. And our first sponsor is our friends at Goldco. The 2024 election is approaching, bringing the potential impact on our finances with $6 trillion in taxes in play. It's a great time to consider buying gold. Gold prices have been soaring lately as more people turn to gold to safeguard their assets against the looming threat of a recession or a debt-induced currency crisis. Join the thousands of hardworking Americans who are taking proactive steps to safeguard their savings with Goldco. With over 10 years of experience, Goldco has established itself as a top player in the gold industry. Their buyback guarantee assures you that if your situation changes, they will repurchase your metals at the best price, providing you with peace of mind. Goldco has your back and is committed to supporting you and your financial security. Let them help you safeguard your financial well-being from whatever crisis may strike next. Head over to badlandsgold.com today to claim your free gold and silver kit. You may even qualify for up to 10% off or 10% back in bonus silver. Visit badlandsgold.com and take control of your financial destiny. And then we also have the Badlands shop. Have any plans after the show? How about heading over to the Badlands shop where you'll find Patriot companies with Patriot values. Put your money where your morals are and shop with peace of mind while supporting your favorite Badlanders. Whether you're shopping for everyday household items or a unique gift for that special someone, skip the big box store. Check out the Badlands shop and support Patriot businesses and Badlands media with every purchase. Find unique items for your home and garden, stock up on food, kids' activities, pet supplies, and even plan your financial future. You'll find just about everything, and we're adding more every day. Thank you for supporting companies that support Badlands. We couldn't do this without you. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/shop today. So,
hey, did you notice that the Badland in the desert scene right there with all the bad? Did you notice the rock that looks like a chode penis?
No.
You have to go back. You have to go back and pause it. It's a chode. It's a small little chode. Hold on, where is it?
Hold on, I'll have to go and rewind on Pilled, I think, and see.
It's a chode. You'll see it next time. They're gonna have to make a whole new commercial because of what I just said. Yeah, see, Artsy Jones saw it too. You can't unsee it. It's right there. It's a little chode on the left hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
You find it? Yeah, put it up on screen. Let me see it.
Well, how do I do this? Because
you guys, I gotta go.
All right, later, Zach.
All right, I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Okay. There goes Zach.
Yeah, there you go. On that note, Slug Trail says, "Are we judging shows now?" I can't really. It's on my desktop, which I can't really share through my laptop.
Okay, no problem. Next time, take a look. Next time, you'll be waiting for it now.
Oh, I see it.
What the hell? It started off saying, "Wow, that's a really nice landscape. I really got to see the desert one day. I got to go." And what the hell is that? A chode? Anyhow, all right. What do you got?
I don't know how to come back from that. I don't know, man. What do you think? Is Biden out as the Democrat nominee? I heard Barack Obama has asked him to step down now. You have Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries. So basically all Democrat leadership and the overlord Barack himself have all, come out publicly and said he should step down.
Yeah. How do you come back from that?
I don't know.
How do you come back from that? It's just, it's over. And here's the thing. Donald Trump, for the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, could have literally never left his bedroom. He could have just gone from the tub to the bed, watching TV, playing video games, and have never left his bedroom. And things would still be bad and getting worse for Joe Biden since that debate. He doesn't need. So that's the crazy thing about the crackheads that are out there positing these staged assassination attempt theories. It's just like, for what? In what universe would Donald Trump ever endanger people's lives to kill a young father, to injure others and almost kill himself. To what? What's the purpose? I don't get it. So that's why I was told you and Zach before, I don't really need any more proof to get what just happened. But it's really more so about assessing the cognitively deficient people that we have to live around, because it is for most people, it is about, and I think this is all MK Ultra, it's about looking good and avoiding looking bad. And unfortunately, looking good has involved saying horrendous things with complete moral justification, because you believe you're saying horrendous things about the new Hitler and all of his new Nazi followers. It's okay to be dehumanizing. It's okay to go to war with humanity over these people, because this is what we've been triggered into doing. So that's the real thing. It's just assessing what the hell do we do with all of the terminally retarded people that are around us, because everything else seems pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, that's well said. Frank, what do you got going on tonight?
Honestly, I had a guest cancel, so I'm just going to go through a little bit more of the latest news. I'm going to open up the lines again to all people's theories. Maybe I'll come up with a last minute summary topic, but it's one of those weeks where if you do what we do, why even try to steer it?
Yeah.
Me, I just figure open up the lines and let's see what comes through. And I mean, we're living out insane history right now.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, it really is. Well, Frank, as always, man, I appreciate the time, and it was great talking to you, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, there he goes, Frankie Val of the Quite Frankly Show, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find all things Quite Frankly at quitefrankly.tv. Also, big shout out to Zach Payne of Red Pill 78. He's live right now, redpill78news.com. My name is Adel Nero. My channel is 412 Productions. You can find me on pilled.net. You can find it on Rumble, DLive, CloudHub, Odyssey, and I'm on Twitter at 412 and on 87, on Truth Social at 412. I'm going to go and do a little overtime. You guys want to hang out a bit longer? We're going to do some overtime exclusively on pilled.net. So those of you guys watching on Rumble, on Badlands, or on 412 Productions, hop on over to pilled.net and find us at 412 Productions. I'm going to take some calls. Plus, my man Floyd Due Diligence sent me something interesting I didn't get a chance to get to today, as far as potential for like a second shooter, like audio analysis. I don't know what to make of it. I'm not that smart, but I'm going to play that, and we'll go through some other stuff too. So if you guys want to keep hanging out, come on over to 412 Productions for hour number 2. So I'm going to play the intro to Taking It Back again, just a little segue. When we come back on the other side, we'll shut down the other platforms and continue on with the broadcast. So we'll be right back. Thank you guys for tuning in to Taking It Back. All right, we are back again. If you guys want to keep watching, jump on over to pilled.net. I'm going to go for another hour or so. Take some calls and yeah, see what we get into. We'll just kind of hang out and see where the next hour goes. Otherwise, thank you all for tuning in again, and we'll catch you all on the next one tomorrow. I'll be back at 4 p.m. Eastern time with another installment of Deplorable Discussion. So have a great day, or come on over to Pilled and hang out for a little bit longer.